Sup y'all, we back. So UFC 306 is happening at the end of the week on September 14th, and apparently it's a flop. You ask anybody on the internet, it is flopping. It is doing bad, horrendous. Ticket sales are not looking good. I think even the pay-per-view price went down $10. All in all, UFC 306 is looking like a mess, and in my opinion, it's just because there's too much going on. You have UFC 306, which is also the UFC's first event at the Sphere, UFC Sphere, so then you have UFC Noche because of Mexican Independence Day, so UFC Noche is happening. Then you also have Riyad season. That's just all too much stuff to focus on for one event. This event is taking place on Mexican Independence Day, which is why we're doing UFC Noche again. And this card is supposed to compete with the Canelo card that's happening in the same weekend, I believe. And competing is not going very well for the UFC. The Canelo fight is already outselling the UFC by a lot. Go figure, Mexican fans want to watch Canelo box over Sean O'Malley and Merab. It's just such an odd choice to put on UFC Noche and not have that many prominent UFC Mexican stars on it. Where the fuck is Brandon Moreno? Where the fuck is Yair Rodriguez? Where is Brandon Royval? Kelvin Gastelum? Like, we can keep doing this. Just on paper, marketing-wise, and setting up this event to do well, it makes no sense to have it compete with the Canelo card during Mexican Independence Day. Especially with this being the first event at the Las Vegas Sphere. This is going to be the first combat sport, I believe, to happen at the Las Vegas Sphere, period. It just feels like being at the Sphere is like a historical milestone, and I feel like they're wasting it on UFC Noche. For starters, the event is during Mexican Independence Day, but the event is not in Mexico, it's in Las Vegas at the Sphere, and you guys are selling tickets for like 12K to 17K a pop. Granted, it's gone down recently, and I'll get to that, but those numbers coupled with the $69.99 pay-per-view price, you guys are like pushing away all the people that you're trying to market towards with this fight card. It doesn't really take a genius to know that Mexican fans don't have that kind of guapo, which really makes me wonder, who the fuck is this event for? Like, who are we actually trying to sell this to? Not Mexican fans. You don't have a Mexican main event, it's not in Mexico, and the price range is, well, frankly, too high. It just seems like the UFC and Dana White specifically is catering more towards the celebrity seat ticket to fill up the seats, and it's just stupid to me. Dana White himself hates the fact that boxing has all these events where you got people who have known nothing about the sport in the front seat taking up all the valuable space. And as time goes on further and further, it feels like Dana White is just pushing further and further away out of his like core values as a promoter, I guess. But it's not really going too well. There was 3,000 tickets still needed to be sold, I think a few days ago, and yesterday I checked again, they said it was over 1,000 that they still need to sell. Dana White himself said that the expected gate for the event has lowered, so the prices for the event has lowered as well. The ticket prices have lowered substantially, my bad. And last I checked, the pay-per-view prices went up to $80, now they're back to $70. Still way too fucking much, but I'll get to that. Which is why I'm so happy that Riyad season and Turki Al-Sheikh, Sir Excellency, is coming in to save the day. Like he always does. He's my GOAT right now, I'm not gonna lie, dude's doing major. But Turki himself said that he believes the reason that the UFC and boxing are getting more streams rather than actual pay-per-view buys is because the pay-per-view costs too much, simply as. And if you look around and if you ask and just, you know, use your fucking brain, nobody wants to pay $80 a month for a pay-per-view, especially when in recent years the cards have been lacking. It just is true, is what it is. Turki ended up lowering the price for AJ versus Dubois happening, and it's down over to $20 now, and I think that's super fucking cool. I would much rather spend $20 on a pay-per-view and support the UFC and get something, a quality product, rather than spending $80 and having to put that in my monthly budget. Dana wants to combat streamers and piracy websites, but he thinks the way to do that is to get them prosecuted. No, dude, make your shit affordable. As the years go forward and forward, Dana White just comes off more as like a greedy son of a bitch. He's heading towards Vince McMahonism, and nobody should be heading towards Vince McMahonism. And if they're confused as to why this event specifically is not doing so well with Sean O'Malley on the card, UFC Noche, the Sphere, all this bullshit, it's because the lack of promo work, honestly. The promotion for this event has not been good. Straight up. Even before Sean O'Malley won the belt, and even continuing to this day, people talk about how Sean O'Malley lacks the actual star power that the UFC thinks he has. Then you have Merab making this whole shit a mess, posting his eye cut that he got like 2 weeks ago. Then apparently there's a picture floating around now that he might have staff going into the fight. So not only do you not have a Mexican main event for UFC Noche on Mexican Independence Day to compete against Canelo, but also the main event is just not looking too good at this point. I'm a fan of Sean O'Malley. I want to see this fight. I actually am am excited to see this fight go down, but I'm not everybody. Then you have Grasso versus Shevchenko 3, which headlined the last UFC Noche card an entire year ago. And whilst I am personally invested in this fight, it's only because I'm actually a fan of Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. But in terms of promotion for the fight, it's just lacking. I mean, they had a generally unwatched tough season, and other than a couple interview clips over the phone or some shit, it's just generally not that interesting. Dana seems to be dropping the ball as of 2024. I don't know if he's too distracted trying to make Jon Jones look like the second coming, or more distracted of Jon Jones coming on his fit. It's just generally giving a weird vibe, especially with that ad that he put on the Dana White Contender Series, and he tried to like say that he had no idea that's what happened, but did you guys look at the stats? That shit was just dick munching. I'm sorry, man. There's no update on McGregor versus Chandler. Apparently McGregor's gonna be running for the presidency of Ireland, so I guess no UFC return. Me personally and a lot of other UFC fans and MMA fans are just, we're tired with Dana White's out of touch, trust me bro mentality with his promotion work. He's still trying to sell us slap fighting like it's something legitimate at all. It's just hillbillies trading brain damage for no reason. He's still hardcore promoting Jones versus Miocic like it's anything legitimate that anyone's gonna put any weight into. Generally, nobody considers Jon Jones to be the heavyweight champion, and Stipe hasn't been the champion since like, what, 2021? I already made my video dissecting why that whole thing is stupid, but this is not a legitimate heavyweight championship title fight. It should be Aspinall versus Jones, or Jones should be stripped. Let's be real. How many times has Jones been stripped actually? Yo, someone should put that number in my comments. But all in all, 306 is not looking competently put together. It just seems like they literally just mangled a bunch of shit together and then just threw it at the wall and said, Mexico! Let me know what you guys think. This is my take on it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment your thoughts on UFC Noche and what's happening with all that bullshit. And subscribe for more fight talk in the future. Later.
My secrets and my heart is what I gave to you. In return, you see nothing but a lame excuse. And it's wow, I did everything just to see you smile. I've been thinking about you for a while. Responding to your pics and your vids. Now I see you just do it for the gram. And you talking on your man.